Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows. Dylan Knows episode 637, 6767 Days to Winter. That's right. I am jumping on board the 6767 drawing board right now. Technically, it's about 8 days to winter. It is December 13th, 2025, 11:05 p.m. here in Reisterstown, Maryland. That is currently snowy Reisterstown, Maryland. The weathermen were calling it all week, and I was like, nothing's going to happen, really. It's supposed to be an overnight event. It's supposed to start around 10 o'clock. We'll see. So got engrossed in Wake Up Dead Man, which was excellent, by the way. And after it was over, I went out to see what's going on, and sure enough, the snow's coming down. It's laying down. My road is covered in snow right now. My car is covered in snow. Grass covered in snow. Sidewalk still kind of clear, but it's supposed to be coming down all night. So we'll see. It's not supposed to be very much, so I don't know what's going on with that. It's supposed to get colder, though, so it's going to hang around a little bit longer. So we got that. And to celebrate that, I found this brand new flavor of tea called Snowberry, which I'm actually dying to try. Probably hate it. But let's find out, shall we? Pretty interesting smell. Let's go. It's hard to place the flavor. It's sweet. It does have a berry flavor to it. Couldn't tell you what type of berry it was. It was a snowberry, I guess. It's pretty decent, actually. I could see myself drinking that again. Pretty good. So yeah, so delicious. Good job. Hi, Pep. My kitty's down here, just sort of looking around a little bit. So what we got in this episode 637, 67, sort of thing going on. Got a lot of news going on. The 6-7 thing is going to actually play into at least two stories on my show today. As I said, just saw Wake Up Dead Man also, which for those who don't know is the Knives Out 3, but I hate calling it that. It's called a Benoit Blanc mystery. Daniel Craig, Ryan Johnson, cast of various actors and actresses, mystery, and it's brilliant. And this one was just as good. It is 12 days to Christmas, actually, literally. It's the 13th, so 12 days is 25. So it's got to really start getting into gear Christmas stuff again. Because of the way the world is right now, it's really, really hard to get excited for Christmas this year. Some stuff has been bought, but I still got to buy a lot of stuff. The tree is up, but I haven't done anything else yet. I was going to put out the inflatables and stuff today, but I got lazy, and then I discovered, you know what, it's going to be snowing. It's not really worth it because I won't be able to put up in the snow and the cold, so put off for another day, I guess. And then I was going to work on the inside, but again, laziness, and also had to drive down to UMBC. My daughter's birthday was yesterday. It was also her last day of classes for her fall semester. So we went out to dinner, and we moved her out of her dorm. Well, temporarily, she's going back in the spring. She's living in the same dorm, so she keep a lot of the stuff that's in there now, but she had to get rid of certain things. And we forgot some stuff. So this is only about 20 minutes away. We drove back down, and the actual school doesn't actually close till next Friday. We went back down and got the rest of her stuff, so we're all set now. So she will be home until January 25th. So I'll be able to see my daughter a lot, which is a lot of fun because I haven't seen her all fall. So we'll see what's going on with that. Plus some good trailers popped up, some good anniversaries, some interesting news. A lot more awards, so I'll try to cover what I can on here. I'm so sorry. I don't know what it is about doing my show that causes me to yawn like this, but here we are. So I guess we should get started here real quick. My daughter's birthday was yesterday. 19 years old, and we went to Cheesecake Factory down Rundle Mills, which is closer to where she goes to college. And so that was interesting. I'd never been to Rundle Mills. That's where the first casino in Maryland was built when we legalized gambling. and it's just a big giant mall, and it has a lot of shops and restaurants. And Cheesecake Factory is actually part of the um, casino. Didn't know that till we got there, so that's kind of interesting. They have a big giant Bass Pro Shop. They have a giant Cinemark movie theater there as well, and some really good cool stuff. My daughter goes there all the time with her boyfriend, so it's close by to her campus, and there's a lot of stuff to do there. Stop yawning. So it was good, and it was decent food, and good food as always, and cheesecake was very good. Also, you probably noticed I didn't mention in the first 5 minutes, I am now clean shaven. I had to buy a electric razor to do it. A regular razor was not doing it, so I had to shave it all up. So I did, and here we are. So used it again today just to shave again because it's a lot easier than doing the razor blade. So we'll maybe I'll do that from now on. I don't know, but it worked out good. Good, start yawning. Got that going on, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, so that's really all that's happening right now. Next week is the last full week of school and work for my son and daughter. I'm sorry, my son and my wife. I still have to work through Christmas Eve. And then I have to work the week after that as well. So yeah, it's good fun. A lot of Fortnite information coming up also, and interesting things as well. So we'll start off with the trailers. One of the most anticipated trailers ever popped up this week. It was the Supergirl trailer to get our first look at the new DCU movie coming out in June of next year, June 26th, 2026, I believe. And it was very good. I enjoyed it immensely. They are really doing a good job with adapting the Tom King story. It looks how you want it to be, and you get a general idea of kind of story. You got a real quick look at Jason Momoa as Lobo, which is a very quick look, but he looks very comic accurate, and she's very comic accurate also. We're going to learn about her origins, about being in Argo and the destruction of Krypton, and Krypto's in the movie as well. And there's a scene in the trailer where it looks like Krypto is sick or hurt or something, and she's upset. Lara's upset and trying to take care of him. So hopefully nothing will happen to Krypto. But some fun stuff going on though. So go check it out. Definitely on my list of movies to watch next year. Also, in the DCU, we got our first. It was really only like a 30-second spot, if that, for Lanterns. We haven't even got a trailer yet, but just the first footage from it. It basically has Kyle something or other who's playing Hal Jordan is supposed to be training young John Stewart, and they're driving in a car, and Hal does a totally Hal Jordan thing. So I was very happy about that. He takes the ring off his finger, puts on the dashboard of the car that is speeding down this hill towards this cliff, and he jumps out with John Stewart still on the driver's side, and the car careens off of a cavern into a canyon, and that's where it ends. So obviously, he's going to grab the ring and use it. John Stewart is, but still, it's kind of funny, and it's the total Hal Jordan thing to do. So I think the casting is good, and the script looks like it could be really good. We'll get a better view of the Lanterns later on when we get the full trailer eventually. But they just wanted to drop a couple scenes to whet people's appetites for it. Little knowledge, we're here at Christmas time. Christmas music is playing right now. Oh Holy Night was the first piece of music to ever be broadcast on the radio. I found that out this week, so I figured I would share it with you. Kind of interesting to see that. We also the Netherlands are the first country to eliminate the stray dog population. Every stray dog has found a owner of some kind, so there are no stray dogs out and about anymore. So good on them. Let's see if there's anything else that's connected to that. Unfortunately, with the snow falling right now, we're not going to be able to see the Geminids meteor shower, which is tonight into tomorrow. So blast you snow, but everyone else in the world who's not getting snow, go out later tonight, actually right around this time probably, and just sort of chill out now overnight into the morning and look for the Geminids meteor shower. So last meteor shower of the year. It's a pretty decent one, actually. So definitely check that out. But yes, we did not get we did not get that. Our first 6767 story. In-N-Out Burger has banned the number 6767 in their ticket system because too many TikTokers are coming in and making TikToks with them calling for it 6767. That's kind of interesting. The Army-Navy game, the annual Army-Navy game, was played down at Ravens Stadium, downtown Baltimore today. And Navy won 17-16, so kind of reverse 6-7 in that as well. So good on Navy on winning that. They've been kind of losing the last few years, but the Navy is the better team this year. They have a record of 10-2 now, and the Army's record was 6-6. So it was good to see Navy win. It was a close one. It looked like it was entertaining. Didn't watch it. I usually used to watch it all the time because when my daughter was younger, we would have her parties at home, usually in our house. We would have the game on because it was always that Saturday after her birthday, or it was on her birthday was when the game was, or if her birthday was on a Sunday, we would do the party on Saturday. So we'd always watch the game when she was celebrating her birthday until we started going out into doing stuff actual. And then we didn't really watch it because we weren't celebrating at her house, but outside of the house. So, but kind of good. And it's always been a big thing. Navy runs in my family. I live in Maryland. Annapolis is right down the road from here. So you have to cheer for Navy. I've got family in the Naval Academy, so you had to cheer for them absolutely over Army. I work with somebody who went to Navy, so that's pretty good. And we have the Navy at work, so we have the Naval Academy at work, so we got to cheer for them. We got our first look at the House of Dragons season 3 teaser trailer for the new Game of Thrones spinoff. The Night Manager Season 2 trailer also debuted with Tom Hiddleston. That's set to debut on January 11th. We got our first look at Euphoria Season 3, some behind-the-scenes pictures. We got a little bit of look at Sydney Sweeney, Zendaya, Jacob Elordi, and seeing some of the stuff, how they look. So we're going to get a bit more on that coming up. Some sports ball. The Baltimore Orioles, my baseball team, has signed slugger Pete Alonso from the New York Mets. He's called the Polar Bear. And he is a verified slugger, a guy that the Ravens desperately need, a big hitter, big-time guy, first baseman. So we signed him for 5 years, $155 million. So we are hopefully going to spend some money a little bit, open the coffers a little bit. Now we just need to get some key pitching, some good pitchers. So if we can do that, we could be a decent team next year. But we have our lineup is pretty stacked right now, so that's pretty decent. So welcome to Baltimore, Pete Alonso. In other sports ball news, Philip Rivers, who's been retired 5 years now and was going to get ready to be, or maybe it wasn't 5 years, 4 years, was going to be on next year's Hall of Fame ballot because 5 years after you retire, you can get to the Hall of Fame. The Indianapolis Colts are in dire straits right now. Their quarterback, Daniel Jones, tore his Achilles. He'll be out for the rest of the year and probably most of next year. We'll see about if he'll be healthy enough to start playing. I don't think so because it's usually about a year and a half to heal a torn Achilles. So he might actually play again until 2027. So we'll see how that works out. But he's gone. And then their backup has hurt himself also. So they need to find somebody quick. But free agency, I think, is done. And trade deadline is passed, so there's really not much you can do. You really can't make trades with people who have quarterbacks. I think the only thing you could do is if they release somebody and they waived them, you can put a waive claim on them. I think that's the only way you can really get them. But they decided to reach out to Philip Rivers, a 44-year-old quarterback who was played for the Chargers the longest time and then played for a bunch of other teams as well. It's a pretty decent quarterback for his time, but never really won the big one, never got into the big one, I don't think. But he was decent. He is also well known for having 10 kids with the same woman, so that's kind of nice. It's not multiple women, but he's with one wife, but still poor woman. They have called him out of retirement. Now everyone was like saying, why you call him? Why'd you call somebody else? Well, because Philip Rivers, his last 3 or 4 years with in his career were with the Colts. So he knows the system, knows the people, knows the area. The coach that's coaching there now was one of his coaches at some time or another during his career. He officially will be starting tomorrow's game. Let's see the schedule, see who they're playing. Let's see. The Colts are playing the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. So that's a hell of a first game to play at 4:25 p.m. tomorrow. So that could be an interesting game to check out if you're so inclined, as it were. So definitely check that out. So we'll see what happens. It's either going to be a massive shit show or it's going to be one of the coolest things ever. I don't know. We'll find out. Luke McFarlane has been cast as Tim Allen's missing Navy hero son in Shifting Gears season 2. He's been, I don't watch the show, but apparently he is talked about all the time and is considered the prodigal son, not the prodigal son, but the best son, the best child of everybody. And he's finally going to make his return here, and they got him cast. So good for them, I guess. Greta Gerwig says that next year's Chronicles of Narnia movie is going to blow you away and change your life. Pretty big, bold talk in there, but Greta Gerwig can pull it off, and she's doing something that is unexpected. She's actually starting with the first book in the Chronicles of Narnia, The Magician's Nephew, which has never really had a live action adaptation as far as I know. And basically I did read that one. It is the creation of Narnia, so we're going to find out how the light pole got there and how the Eternal Winter happened and all that stuff. So could be good, could be interesting. We'll see how that all rolls out. That's one that's also probably going to be on my list. It'll be out about this time next year. So good on that. The Street Fighter trailer just looks like a really god-awful movie, but it's in a good way. A lot of people who watch it like, this looks terrible, but it looks like also something that I would sit down and watch with my friends. So we'll see. I didn't really take a close look at it, but Jason Momoa is in that also. And I think there's some other people in there too. It's going to be, I don't know when it's going to be. It's debuting in 2026, but Mortal Kombat is also coming out in 2026. So we're going to be getting both Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter live action movies coming out next year. So that's good. Max Brooks, who is the son of Mel Brooks, is a pretty decent writer. You probably know him from the Zombie Survival Guide, World War Z, which is a phenomenal book. If you haven't read it, it is better than the movie that Brad Pitt made because it really had no correlation with the book. The World War Z book was basically a oral history of the zombie apocalypse from different people who experienced it, done in chronological order. So it starts with the zombie apocalypse being over and a reporter going around and just getting the key points about how it started. And he goes to all different people and how things got started, what happened first, what happened middle, how it ended, sort of stuff that he talks to everybody. And it's written as an oral history. It's really, really good. And then years ago, I would say almost close to 2020, 2021, somewhere around there, he wrote a book called Devolution, which is one of my favorites, basically about a small little a group of smart houses that live off the grid near Mount Rainier. And Mount Rainier, which is a dormant volcano, explodes and cuts them off from society. And they're trapped up in this, high mountains, away from everything in these smart houses. And they begin having experiences with a family of Bigfoot that are attacking them and trying to reclaim the territory. It's an excellent book, excellent story, would make an excellent movie as well. if they followed it, I've always had an idea in my head. If I was in an alternate reality where I was a director, I was going to direct it. I already had the story and who the actors are that be in it and how I would do it because I really enjoyed the book. And he hasn't written anything for a while. Then lo and behold, this week, posting, because I follow him on Facebook, a posting from his Facebook page. Hey guys, I know it's been a while, I've been working this last 4 or 5 years, but it looks like we're going to get a new book next year, 2026. So he showed a picture of his manuscript, and this is him himself writing it. It is probably going to be out in 2026, probably summer or early fall 2026, but it is the working title right now is The First 24 Hours of an Alien Invasion, which is a great idea for a story continuing his oral history of the zombie apocalypse and this devolution, which is told pretty much as a story, but it's also told sort of through journal entries as well. So it's kind of neat to see that. And then now we have the first 24 hours of an alien invasion. So, and he probably did his research. That's why it's taken him so long to do it. So this could be kind of a really good hypothetical if aliens do in fact invade, what the first 24 hours of an alien invasion would be like here on Earth. I think it's phenomenal. Cannot wait to read it, and we'll get more information. We'll get it to you once I find out more about it. Pokemon Go has created Forever Friends, where they're adding another heart to your 5 hearts that you have with your friends that you have, and you've got to work to get that 6th heart. And if you get that 6th heart filled, you will unlock trades with them, meaning if you have a friend that you somehow hooked up with who lives in like England or Australia, or Japan. I have friends that are on my Pokemon list. I like that. And you are forever friends. You can do trades from long distance. You're not allowed to do that right now in Pokemon Go. You have to be within the vicinity to make a trade. But now you can trade with somebody if you are their forever friend with them via long distance, which is really cool. So that would be neat. So good on that. The first of a couple of Fortnite stories. Kim Kardashian apparently is going to be in Fortnite right now. Apparently she's going to have like 300 selectable costumes. I'm not going to buy it. Don't know who's going to buy it. I mean, some people find her sexy and attractive, and the skin is sexy and attractive, and she's going to be wearing tight outfits, stuff like that. But yeah, it doesn't do anything for me, and I'm not going to buy it and I'll spend my money on it. So there we go. Last week, I spent about a half hour discussing the Netflix buying Warner Brothers from out of the grasp of the right-wing Paramount Pictures. Well, as expected, and Netflix said they expect this from happening, Paramount Pictures was a whiny little bitch, as I talked about last week, about losing out on it. So they said they were going to do everything in their power to make sure it doesn't happen. They have decided to go to a hostile takeover of Warner Brothers. They're going directly to the stockholders with a $30 billion more than Netflix that Netflix bought them for. They'll give them $30 billion more if you go with Paramount. And that just reeks of desperation. And they're getting that extra $30 billion from Saudi Arabians who, if you all remember correctly, that might not be these specific people, but that country was one that attacked us on 9/11. And Paramount is owned by the convict in the White House. And the convict wants Warner Brothers because they want to corner the market on everything. All the people who have been complaining about Netflix buying Warner Brothers have mysteriously gone silent when it comes to Paramount buying them out. So either they were a bunch of right-wingers who were disguising themselves, complaining about it, like they always do with stuff. And some of them might have actually been people who are concerned about it, but they're not talking about the potential that Paramount is run by the right wing is going to destroy movies worse than Netflix would. And you think that it'd be terrible if Netflix gets it because, oh my God, my movie might not be in the movie theater for that long at the time. You're probably not going to be able to see the movies. Like the biggest Warner Brothers movie this year was Sinners. African-American cast, mostly. About white supremacists get murdered at the end. Yeah, you're never going to see that movie again if the right wing owns Warner Brothers. I guarantee you that. Netflix, meanwhile, would probably release it in a movie theater for like 20 days and then put it on streaming. But that's just, oh my God, you're cutting out 10 days from the release time. Yeah, so get the stream. But I'm not going to get into that because I talked a whole half hour about that before. But so yeah, Paramount is trying to do a hostile takeover of WB. So hopefully that does not go through because that would just make things completely suck. Well, it's that time again. We started last week. Award season is upon us right now. We're back again. The biggest thing this week was the Golden Globe nominations were announced. Whoops. And there's some pretty much, we're getting a clear picture of things. So let's see if I can get you the Golden Globe nominations here. All right. Best Motion Picture Drama. The nominees are Frankenstein, Hamnet, It Was Just an Accident, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners. Best Motion Picture Musical Comedy, Blue Moon, Begonia, Marty Supreme, No Other Choice, Nouvelle Vague, One Battle After Another. Best Motion Picture Animated, Arco, Demon Slayer, Elio, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Little Amelie, or The Character of Rain, Zootopia 2. Here's where it gets interesting. Cinematic and box office achievement. The nominees are Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, Sinners, Weapons, Wicked for Good, Zootopia 2. What sounds off to you like that? Avatar, Fire and Ash has not even been released yet, and it's already been nominated for cinematic and box office achievement. They're anticipating probably it making as much money as the first two, but it's how do you know it's going to be a big box office hit? So that's ridiculous. Best Motion Picture Non-English Language. It Was Just an Accident, No Other Choice, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Surat, and the voice of Hind Rajab. Best Performance by Female Actor in Motion Picture Drama, Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, Jennifer Lawrence, Die My Love, Renée for Sentimental Value, Julia Roberts for After the Hunt, Tessa Thompson for Hedda, Eva Victor, for Sorry Baby. Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Motion Picture Drama. You have Joel Edgerton for Train Dreams, Oscar Isaac for Frankenstein, Dwayne Johnson, The Smashing Machine, Michael B. Jordan, Sinners, Wagner Moura, The Secret Agent, Jeremy Allen White for Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere. Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Motion Picture Musical or Comedy, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs I'd Kick You, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked for Good, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, Chase Infinity for One Battle After Another, Amanda Seyfried for The Testament of Anne Lee, and Emma Stone for Begonia. Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Motion Picture Musical or Comedy, Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme, George Clooney for Jay Kelly, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, Lee Byung-hun for No Other Choice, Jesse Plemons for Begonia. Best Performance by a Female Actor in any supporting role in any motion picture, Emily Blunt, The Smashing Machine, Elle Fanning, The Sentimental Value, Ariana Grande, Wicked for Good, Inga Ibs-daughter, Lilias, Sentimental Value, Amy Madigan, Weapons, Tiana Taylor, One Battle for Another. Best Performance by a Male Actor in a supporting role in any motion picture, Benicio del Toro, One Battle for Another, Jacob Elordi, Frankenstein, Paul Mescal, Hamnet, Sean Penn, One Battle for Another, Adam Sandler, Jake Kelly, Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. Best Director Motion Picture, Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle for Another, Ryan Coogler, Sinners, Guillermo del Toro, Frankenstein, Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident, Joaquin Trier for Sentimental Value, and Chloe Zhao for Hamnet. Best Screenplay Motion Picture, Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle for Another, Ronald Bronstein, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Ryan Coogler for Sinners, Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident, Escovat and Joaquin Trier for Sentimental Value, Chloe Zhao for Maggie O'Farrell, Hamnet. Best Original Score, Motion Picture, Alexandra Desplat for Frankenstein, Ludwig Göransson for Sinners, Johnny Greenwood for One Battle for Another, Kang Ding Ray for Surat, Max Richter for Hamnet, Hans Zimmer for F1. Best Original Song, Motion Picture, Dream is One, Avatar, Firing Ash, music by Miley Cyrus, Golden, K-Pop Demon Hunters, music by Jung Goi-hook, Yoo-han Lee, Hee Dong-nam, Jung Hoon Seow, Park Hong-jun. I Lied to You, Sinners, music by Raphael Sandik and Ludwig Göransson. No Place Like Home, Wicked for Good, music by Stephen Schwartz. The Girl in the Bubble, Wicked for Good, music by Stephen Schwartz. Train Dreams, music by Nick Cave, Bryce Dessner. Best Television Series Drama, The Diplomat, The Pit, Pluribus, Severance, Slow Horses, The White Lotus. Best Television Series Musical or Comedy, Abbott Elementary, The Bear, Hacks, Nobody Wants This, Our Only Murders in the Building, The Studio. Best TV Limited Series, Anthology Series, or Motion Picture Made for Television, Adolescence, All Her Fault, The Beast and Me, Black Mirror, Dying for Sex, The Girlfriend. Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Television Series Drama, Kathy Bates for Matlock, Brett Lauer for Severance, Helen Mirren for Mobland, Bella Ramsey for The Last of Us, Kerry Russell for The Diplomat, Rhea Seehorn for Pluribus. Best Performance by a Male in TV Series Drama, Sterling K. Brown, Paradise, Diego Luna, Andor, Gary Oldman, Slow Horses, Mark Ruffalo, Task, Adam Scott, Severance, Noah Wiley, The Pit. Best Performance by a Female Actor in Television Series, Musical or Comedy, Kristen Bell, Nobody Wants This, Ayo Edebiri for The Bear, Selena Gomez, Only Murders in the Building, Natasha Lyonne for Poker Face, Jenna Ortega, Wednesday, Gene Smart, Hacks. Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Television Series, Musical or Comedy, Adam Brody, Nobody Wants This, Steve Martin, Only Murders in the Building, Glenn Powell, Chad Powers, Seth Rogen for The Studio, Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building, Jeremy Allen White, The Bear. Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Limited Series, Anthology Series, Motion Picture Made for Television, Claire Danes, The Beast and Me, Rashida Jones, Black Mirror, Amanda Seyfried, Long Bright River, Sarah Snook, All Her Fault, Michelle Williams, Dying for Sex, Robin Wright, The Girlfriend. Best Performance by a Male Actor, Limited Series, blah, 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 Jacob Arundi, The Narrow Road to the Deep North, Paul Giamatti, Black Mirror, Stephen Graham, Adolescence, Charlie Hunnam for Monster the Ed Gein Story, Jude Law for Black Rabbit, Matthew Rice by The Beast and Me. It's going to keep going on and on, but we've got a whole lot of stuff. I'm going to keep moving on. But yeah, so we got a lot of stuff here. So I'm going to skip a bunch of that. But you got your general idea of what you're going to be getting. So we'll see how that actually rolls out. We also have the African American Film Critics Association Awards. I think majority of that was won by Sinners. African American Critics. There we go. Oh, so last year's. See if I can find this year's. The African American Film Critics Association Top 10 Films of the Year. Sinners, One Battle for Another, Hedda, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Wicked for Good, F1, One of Them Days, The Knife, The Smashing Machine. Best Actor, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. Best Actress, Tessa Thompson for Hedda. Best Supporting Actress, Wunmi Mosaku for Sinners. Best Supporting Actor, Damson Idris for F1. Best Documentary, The Perfect Neighbor. Best Animated Feature, K-Pop Demon Hunters. Best Director, Ryan Coogler for Sinners. Best Writing, Ryan Coogler for Sinners. Emerging Face Actor, Miles Canton for Sinners. Emerging Face Actress, Chase Infinity for One Battle After Another. Best Independent Feature, Hedda. Best Ensemble, Sinners. Best Live Action Short, The Rebel Girls. Best Documentary Short, Hoops, Hopes, and Dreams. Best Animated Short, Black Man, Black Man. Best Music, Ludwig Göransson for Sinners. So, pretty decent selection there. So, good on that as well. We do have a couple other award stuff coming up a little later in the show, so we'll move on from there. It was tasty. Anniversary, Scream 2 debuted 28 years ago this week. Superman the movie debuted 47 years ago this week. Throw Mama from the Train debuted 38 years ago this week. The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, the newest version of it, came out 20 years ago this week. The Lovely Bone, debuted 16 years ago this week. And the only death on this page is Stanley Baxter, which I didn't write down what he did, but he passed away this week. Come on. Here we go. Pennsylvania passes a law declaring pets as legal family members, not property, so that's good for that. We're going to first look at Buddy. A girl and her family her friends must escape a kids show. It looks a lot like Five Nights at Freddy, but for a kids show. It stars Krista Milotti, DeLonge Green, The Lonely Green, Topher Grace, Keegan Michael Key, Michael Shannon, and Patton Oswalt. So pretty decent cast on that. The Bride comes out March 6, 2026. That is Maggie Gyllenhaal's look at Frankenstein with Christian Bale as the monster. Netflix is developing a Jamestown documentary about the cult and the mass murder that happened with the poison Kool-Aid. Woman diagnosed with terminal disease divorces her husband and ends up having sex with 200 men. Just because she can, because she was dying, so why not? Wednesday season 3 starts filming in February. Avatar: The Last Airbender, the live-action TV show on Netflix, finally has released the first trailer for season 2, and it will be out in 2026. So the first season did very well, and the third season just wrapped production, so you're going to get all 3 of your seasons, which is good. Lenny Kravitz has been cast to play the next Bond villain. Spike Fearnan joins the Phantom Son with Renee Zellweger. Lola Pettigrew joins Toby Walker in the live-action Assassin's Creed show on Netflix. New 6'7" emote appears in Fortnite. And also, since we're in a Pacific Northwest California map, Bigfoot has popped up on the island as an NPC just walking around. So as you're going through the island, you might stumble across Bigfoot. He will run away if you get too close. I don't think he'll attack you. I guess you could try to kill him if you want, and then maybe he'll attack you. But if you just leave him alone, if he sees you get too close, he will run away from you. Kevin Smith wants Helen Mirren to replace Alan Rickman in Dogma 2. Not to replace the role that he was as Mettaton, but a new role, but play the part of the wise, veteran sort of member of God's stuff. So he is writing Dogma 2 right now, and that's what he's looking at. Powerball is at $1 billion, which is expected around this time of the year, around Christmas time. The lottery jackpots go really, really high. We got our first trailer for His and Hers, the John Barenthal, Tessa Thompson show. Comes out January 8th on Netflix. And kind of disappointed. It looked like it was going to be like a romantic comedy sort of thing. It'd been nice to see that. But instead it's a psychological thriller where John Barenthal plays like a police officer, FBI agent, which is what he always does. And his ex-wife, played by Tessa Thompson, is like a coroner, and they're both investigating a murder of someone that Barenthal might have known or had an affair with or something like that. So he's a suspect, obviously, and all the stuff. So it just looks kind of like your typical sort of stuff. I was kind of disappointed. I was kind of hoping that Barenthal would try something different, but oh well. We had our first image of Tiptoes, Russell T. Davis's new show for the BBC with Alan Cumming and David Morrissey. 28 years later, 3 is moving forward. Cillian Murphy is set to return in that one. We got our first trailer for the second one, The Bone Temple, last week. I talked about that as well. That's out in January. Jennifer Lawrence and Josh Hutcherson are set to reprise their Hunger Games roles in the prequel of The Sunrise and the Reaping, more than likely probably a flash forward to the future, present day, whatever you want to talk about, with them coming back discussing something. New York Times Square revealed a first kind of teaser poster for Steven Spielberg's, as of now, still unnamed UFO film that's releasing June 12th, 2026, one day before Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding. But according to it, it was just a close-up of like an alien eye, and it had some writing on it, and one of the words on it was disclose. And the rumor has been going out around that it's going to be called Disclosure. So we will see if that actually ends up being what it's called. So we'll find out more about that soon. Sooner than later, I hope. Why do I go so much? The Critics' Choice Awards. I think they have nominations for that. The nominations announced for the 31st Annual Critics' Choice Awards. Best Picture, Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, J. Kelly, Maddie Supreme, One Battle for Another, Sentimental Value, Sinners, Train Dreams, Wicked for Good. Best Actor, Timothy Chalamet for Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio, One Battle After Another, Joel Edgerton for Train Dreams, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan, Sinners, Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent, Best Actress, Jessie Buckley, Hamnet, Rose Byrne, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Chase Infinity, One Battle After Another, Renate Runusev for Sentimental Value, Amanda Seyfried, The Testament of Anne Lee, Emma Stone, Begonia, Best Supporting Actor, Benicio del Toro, One Battle for Another, Jacob Arundi, Frankenstein, Paul Mescal, Hemnet, Sean Penn, One Battle for Another, Adam Sandler, Jay Kelly, Stellan Skarsgård, Sentimental Value, Best Supporting Actress, Elle Fanning, Sentimental Value, Ariana Grande, Wicked for Good, Inga Ibsdottir, Liliasos, Sentimental Value, Amy Madigan, Weapons, Wumi Musaku, Sinners, and Teyana Taylor for One Battle for Another. Best Young Actor, Actress, Everett Blunk for The Plague, Miles Caton for Sinners, Carrie Christopher for Weapons, Shannon Mahina Gorman for Rental Family, Jacoby Jupe for Hamnet, Nina Yee for Left-Handed Girl. Best Director, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle for Another, Brian Coogler, Sinners, Guillermo del Toro, Frankenstein, Josh Safdie, Maddie Supreme, Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, Chloe Zhao for Hamnet. Best Original Screenplay, Jay Kelly, Maddie Supreme, Sinners, Weapons, Sorry Baby, Sentimental Value. Best Adapted Screenplay, One Battle for Another, Train Dreams, No Other Choice, Frankenstein, Begonia, Hamnet. Best Casting and Ensemble, Nina Gold for Hamnet, Douglas Abel, Nina Gold for Jay Kelly, Jennifer Venditti for Maddie Supreme. I guess that's the casting crew, the names of the casting agents. One Battle for Another, Sinners, and Wicked for Good. Best Cinematography, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle for Another, Sinners, Train Dreams. Best Production Design, Fantastic Four, First Steps, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Maddie Supreme, Sinners, Wicked for Good. Best Editing, House of Dynamite, F1, Maddie Supreme, One Battle for Another, The Perfect Neighbor, Sinners. Best Costume Design, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Hedda, Kiss of the Spider Woman, Sinners, Wicked for Good. Best Hair and Makeup, 28 Years Later, Frankenstein, Sinners, Smashing Machine, Weapons, Wicked for Good. Best Visual Effects, Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, Frankenstein, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, Sinners, Superman. Best Stunt Design, Ballerina, F1, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, One Battle After Another, Sinners, Warfare. Best Animated Feature, Arco, Elio, In Your Dreams, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Little Emily, or the Character of Rain, Zootopia 2. Best Comedy, Ballad of Wallace Island, Eternity, Friendship, The Naked Gun, Phoenician Scheme, Splitsville. Best Foreign Language Film, It Was Just an Accident, Left-Handed Girl, No Other Choice, The Secret Agent, Surratt, Belen. Jesus, it keeps going on and on and on. Best Foreign Language Film, It Was Just an Accident, Left-Handed Girl, No Other Choice, Secret Agent, Surratt, Belen. Best Song from F1, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Sinners, Testament of Anne Lee, Train Dreams, Wicked for Good. F1, Best Score, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Maddie Supreme, One Battle for Another, Sinners. Best Sound, F1, Frankenstein, One Battle for Another, Sinners, Surratt, and Warfare. Now we're starting to get a lot more of a visual of what other nominees are going to be eventually. So we'll see how those come to fruition. Anniversaries, Magnum P.I. debuted 45 years ago this week. The Muppet Christmas Carol debuted 33 years ago this week. Hook debuted 34 years ago this week. A Few Good Men debuted 33 years ago this week. The Princess and the Frog debuted 16 years ago this week. Charlie Brown Christmas debuted 60 years ago this week. That's it for that. Deaths. Wene Alton Davis, Marvelous Miss Maisel actress, died after being hit by a car in New York City. Jim Ward, voice actor on modern cartoons, died this week as well. Beatrice Picard, French cartoon voice actress for Marge Simpson and Mama Coco. And that's everything, I think. So this page is done. I've got my new notebook, so my notebook. All you need is Kill. Trailer for animated film came out this week. Madagascar to return into theaters for its 20th anniversary, coming January 16th, 2026. Marge's Got Money Troubles is the first look at the Apple TV David E. Kelly show with Elle Fanning, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Nick Offerman, set debut April 15th, 2026. Actually looks pretty decent, to be fair. Lincoln Lawyer's new season debuts February 5th. Fortnite will be introducing dynamic weather, including tsunamis and slurp rain. Andy Dick suffers an overdose, lives. He's a piece of shit anyway, but he did have an overdose this week. First look at Hero finds Tiffin as young Sherlock Holmes in Guy Ritchie's new show on Prime. Colin Firth and Max something or other is also involved in this show as well. Rafe Spall has been cast as the Prime Minister in Number 10, a new series from Stephen Moffat with Jenna Coleman and Catherine Kelly. Haley Steinfeld is pregnant. Congratulations with her husband, Josh Allen, their first baby. So congratulations to them. So that's good. Pushing Daisies is set to be getting a third season. Yeah, I already mentioned that. I think I talked about it right because it's snowing now. Lakeith Stanford has been cast as Dennis Rodman in 48 Hours in Vegas, replaces Jonathan Majors. Zootopia 2 moves past $1 billion in box office. Helena Bonham Carter is in talks to star in the new season of The White Lotus. And Amanda Seyfried is set to star in a Prime series called Skinny Dip from Bill Lawrence, based on Carl Hyacин's novel. So it's going to be a crime comedy in the vein of a Get Shorty sort of film, which is also based on a Carl Hyacin book, I believe, as is Jackie Brown. Which I think was called Sucker Punch. Or Sucker Punch Drink or something like that. I'm not sure. Anniversaries. Young Sherlock Holmes, and we were doing a Guy Ritchie TV show, but the original Young Sherlock Holmes debuted 40 years ago this week. With this pedigree, Barry Levinson directed it, Chris Columbus wrote it, and Steven Spielberg produced it. It was the first ever fully CGI character in a film 40 years ago. Clue also debuted 40 years ago this week. The classic comedy debuted 40 years ago. GoldenEye, the James Bond film with Pierce Brosnan, debuted 30 years ago this week. Mars Attacks, Tim Burton's homage to the 1950s card series, debuted 29 years ago this week. Saw it in the movie theater. My Stepmother's an Alien debuted 37 years ago this week. Dan Aykroyd, Kim Basinger, a very young Allison Hannigan, even Seth Green pops up in that, where they play a couple on going out on their first date, and they later on are going to reprise that as Willow and Oz and Buffy. So it's kind of funny. It's the first time they work together. The Jackie Gleason, Richard Pryor film, The Toy, debuted 43 years ago this week. That was one of those that I watched over and over again on HBO. We got HBO for the first time when cable first came out in 83. The Toy was one of those movies that they kept playing over and over again. So I watched that a million times, enjoyed it. Airplane 2, the sequel, debuted 43 years ago this week, is a decent sequel. It's it's basically a lazy rewrite of the original film, but there's some differences to it, and it's kind of fun and interesting and has some good jokes. Not quite as funny as obviously the original, but it has its moments, so it's not terrible. The Green Mile debuted 26 years ago this week, and Doom, the video game, debuted 32 years ago this week. This week, Jeff Garcia, the voice of Shane from Jimmy Neutron, died. Bob Woody Popek, the Orioles DJ at the stadium, he passed away this week as well. And Peter Green, character actor who played villains, you would recognize him from The Mask with Jim Carrey, who's the main villain there, and also was in Pulp Fiction. Got me thinking he has a very familiar face. So let's take a look and see what else he was in. Okay. He was 60 years old. Judgment Night, Pulp Fiction, The Mask, The Usual Suspects. He played Redfoot, that's right. Under Siege 2, The Rich Man's Wife, Permanent Midnight, Blue Streak, Nobody's Baby, Training Day. He was in Training Day. Nice. Endgame. Story, The Bounty Hunter, Earthling, Once Fallen. The Kill Hole. New York, New York, City of Lies, Samir, Tesla, Body Brokers, Out of Exile, Little Dixie, Pet Shop Days, Click Up. Yeah, I remember. I recognize him more from Usual Suspects, where he played Redfoot. That's right. Who did he play in Pulp Fiction? Oh, he was Zed. Zed's dead. So, okay. Television, nothing of major. Character actor and a bunch of stuff. So, yeah. So, there we go. There we go. See if there's anything newsworthy popping up. There is not. There we go. I think that's it for this page. Excuse me. Superman and Spider-Man are set to team up in a new crossover comic with Marvel and DC again. They did Deadpool and Batman. The two of those. I had Superman, Spider-Man one. So that'll be fun, coming out soon. Tesla robot stumbles backwards and collapses. We're testing him out, and he did that. Alexander Skarsgård is set to star in The Wolf with The Wolf Will Tear Your Immovable Hands. It's a gothic horror. We are first look at the drama. Out debut April 3rd. Robert Pattinson and Zendaya play a young couple getting married. They look like they're happy to begin with, but it looks like something bad happens, and there's lots of drama. It's from A24. So we got our first trailer for that. John Stamos, Dale Dickey, and Can Gigadet are set to join The Hunting Wives Season 2. Woman-hating podcaster admits to never having sex with women. So obviously people making the states. He's probably had sex with men, though, because he's gay, but he's a woman hater and never had sex with a woman. Comics the Magazine debuts, trying to bring back Wizard, which was one of the best comic book magazines out there. This is just bad. Animal Farm, the animated film directed by Andy Serkis, with an all-star cast that includes voice cast that includes Seth Rogen, Andy Serkis, Gaten Matarazza, Steve Buscemi, Glenn Close, Kieran Culkin, Kathleen Turner, and I can't make out that other name. Set debut May 1st. It is an animated film based on the George Orwell novel, but they changed it to be like a Disney-fied version of it, still following kind of the similar storyline, but changing things up a little bit. Hello. So kind of bizarre little. It's a weird trailer too. I mean, you get some of the Animal Farm stuff in it, but then it goes off the rails about this woman wants this farm and convinces the animals to revert to, going against the animal commandments, which is what sets up animal farm. It's weird. It's really weird to see such a thing. Taika Waititi is set to direct, and She-Hulk's Jesse Gano is going to write an adaptation of the novel Barn 8, which, after hearing about Animal Farm, I wonder what Barn 8 is about. Let's see if there's any storylines about it. Barn 8 book. There it is. Oh, it is on Amazon. Let's see what it's about here. Let's read the adaptation of it. All right. Two auditors for the U.S. egg industry go rogue and conceive a plot to steal 1 million chickens in the middle of the night. An entire egg farm's worth of animals. Janie and Cleveland, a spirited former runaway, and the officious head of audits assemble a precarious, quarrelsome team and descend on the farm on a dark spring evening. A series of catastrophes ensues. That is very interesting. So that's weird. So, okay. So, but it's right up their wheelhouse, so I guess. So, could be interesting. So we'll see where that goes. This is kind of interesting too. Zach Krager and Roy Lee are set to produce an adaptation of Brian Michael Bendis's Torso, which in and of itself it's for Netflix, a series for Netflix, which in and of itself is based on a true story. Elliot Ness, after his defeating of the Al Capone and the Chicago crime lords in the 1920s and stuff like that, was a celebrity. And so they figured that, you're a celebrity. If we have an unusual crime case, maybe he can help find it. So the city of Cleveland is in the midst of a serial killer who basically dismembers his victims, hence the name Torso. And Ellie Ness is on the case to try to find the killer and stop him. The problem is it's not as easy as taking down Al Capone. It's a lot harder, and could be a very interesting story to tell. So we'll see how that goes. But we'll be on Netflix, and we'll see how it goes. I said they just announced it won't probably come out at the earliest. It'll come out 2027 at that. So we'll see what happens. But it sounds interesting, though. The first round of the NFL draft used to be 10 minutes between drafts. So whoever had the number one pick had 10 minutes to make their pick. The number 2 team had number 10 had 10 minutes to make their pick. And now majority of the time, during that time, they are making deals, trying to move up, move back, or whatever, or people are calling them to try to get their spot. But 10 minutes always seemed like a really, really long time to me. So the NFL decided to reduce it down to 8 minutes, which is going to make things really, really good, I think. Plus, some teams who already knew who they were going to pick, just like to milk the clock to add, urgency to it. So we'll see. Dick Van Dyke turned 100 years old yesterday, it is now officially 12:04 a.m. So it's officially the 14th of December right now. So on the 13th of December, Dick Van Dyke turned 100 years old. It is now cheaper to fly to Japan, visit Tokyo Disney, bless you, stay in a hotel, and then come back. That is to go to Disney World in Florida. I don't know how true that is, but there it is. We got to first look at Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, set to debut March 20th, 2026. Cillian Murphy has returned for that. Home Alone comes to Fortnite. Rumor has it that a POI will be the house, which will have all the traps set up inside, so you're going to have to try to avoid them. So that could be kind of interesting to see how that works out. kind of annoyed about this. Avengers Doomsday is set to release 4 trailers in front of Avatar Fire and Ash, but not all at once. They will release 1 week 1, 1 week 2, 1 week 3, 1 week 4. So they're trying to get you to watch that shitty Avatar 3 movie 4 times, once a week, for the next 4 weeks to see all the trailers, and they're all connected. I hope to God nobody does that, because I really don't want Avatar to make a lot of money. But it just seems like a really stupid way of doing things. Why would you want somebody to go see that movie 4 times in 4 weeks just to watch a stupid trailer, which probably eventually be flooded online anyway? So, don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that all shakes out. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to the movie theater. I can wait. If I don't see any stuff on it, that's fine. Again, it's going to leak eventually, so it's really kind of stupid that they're doing that, but whatever. Not my decision. Real quick, did watch Wake Up Dead Man, the third Knives Out. It's the first, I should say, third Benoit Blanc movie. It's just as good as the other 2. I think Knives Out, the first one, still is the best, just because it is the introduction, the most original one, stuff like that. But the other 2, Benoit Blanc has grown into a very intriguing, fully formed character. You've had lots of really good ensembles and really interesting crimes that had to be solved. And the way that they're solved, and who the person was in the end, who was the one who did it, was great. This one continues his Rian Johnson streak about going up against MAGA and their right-wing beliefs and religion this time. Most of the characters who are who are all suspects are right-wingers in some form or another. And what leads to the murder of the character is sort of a right-wing sort of conspiracy going on. It is a classic locked door murder mystery that Benoit has a little trouble to solve because of a bunch of moving parts and stuff going on. And Josh O'Connor's father, Judd, is one of the more interesting characters out there. I think he has more screen time than Benoit does. And it's a really interesting story. He's a very interesting character, how he came to be where he is. Excuse me. Great cast that includes Daniel Craig, obviously, as Benoit Blanc, Josh O'Connor, Kerry Washington, Mila Kunis, Josh Brolin, Glenn Close, Jeremy Renner, Kaylee Spaney, Thomas Hayden Church, and I forget some of the other actors. Jeffrey Wright's in it also, and some other stuff too. So it's a very good film. Highly recommended, as I recommend the other Knives Out movies as well. And to be honest, going back to what I talked about last week about the Netflix and movie theater thing, this movie to me is fine to watch on your TV. I don't think you need to see it in a movie theater. It doesn't quite have the bombasticness that, say, a Sinners does or a Frankenstein does. Now, from what I've seen of Frankenstein, I haven't watched it yet. That probably would have been better to watch in the movie theaters, but we talked about why it's not going to happen and why they're not going to also not do movies in movie theaters anymore. They're still going to do movies in movie theaters, just they're trying to do different things. And I explained why in my show last week about that. We're not going to talk about that right now. But it was definitely well worth it. Very, very good. And continue his streak. Anniversaries. Twins debuted 37 years ago this week. Scarface debuted 42 years ago this week. The Three Amigos debuted 39 years ago this week. The Aristocats debuted 55 years ago this week. Legend, the Tom Cruise, Ridley Scott fantasy film with Mia Sara and Tim Curry, debuted 40 years ago in the UK, but did not release in the United States till 1986, which is interesting because that was the year that Top Gun came out. Tom Cruise was kind of still a little known actor when he did Legend. Top Gun made into a star, so they released it in the 1986 to jump on the bandwagon of Tom Cruise. Abraham Quintanilla Jr., who was musician Selena's father, not Selena Gomez, just Selena, died this week. Bobby Russo, hockey superstar, died this week as well. Brad Luff, Morgan Creek and Sony executive, died at the age of 60. Sophie Kinsella, author of the Shopaholic books, died of brain cancer at the age of 55. Jubilant Sykes, a renowned opera singer, was killed in his house, stabbed to death, which is a shame. So that's that. Now we're getting into my new notebook. The notebook. All right. A page and a half here. Sigourney Weaver has joined the cast of the new Tomb Raider Prime series. It stars Sophie Turner. That's been officially greenlit and will be filming next year. So Sigourney Weaver has joined the cast, so that makes it even more interesting to watch. We have a new trailer for Mercy, the Chris Pratt AI movie, which looks pretty decent, actually, to be fair, coming out in January. SpaghettiOs Pokemon are coming out, where you have Pokemon-shaped SpaghettiO noodles. Obviously, Zootopia 3 has been confirmed after the huge success of Zootopia 2. Kill Screen, a new horror film, has added David Dastmalchian for the cast. Andrew Lloyd Webber would love to have Jonathan Bailey as the Phantom in the version of Phantom of the Opera. Gem and the Holograms, celebrating 40 years of their cartoon, released a cover of a 40-year-old Christmas song called Last Christmas. I think you've heard of it by Wham. It's really a decent cover, so it's pretty interesting. A 7.5 magnitude earthquake hit Japan. I think it's the biggest earthquake to hit Japan ever. I think I read that somewhere. We got our first look at The Testament, which is the spinoff of The Handmaid's Tale. Water leaks at the Louvre damages historic books there. Steve Carell has a new HBO Max series called Rooster, set to debut in March of 2026. Somewhere in Time, another movie I watched all the time when we first got HBO in 83, when we first got cable, has Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour, and one of the most bizarre ways of time travel. Basically, Christopher Reeve goes to this hotel and meditates to go back in time, where he falls in love with Jane Seymour, and he wants to stay back there and live with her. And what'll snap him out of it is he sees something modern. He sees, and then, well, I can't say anything. If I'm not saying anything, I don't spoil it. But it's a interesting romance film, slightly time travel-y also, but kind of in a weird way. But it's mostly a romantic film. But as I said, that was mostly one that I saw multiple times on HBO. When we had HBO when we first got cable in 83. Excuse me. So talking about Top Gun. Top Gun was released in 1986. Their 40th anniversary is coming up next year. It will be re-released in movie theaters on May 13th, 2026. Lily Allen is releasing a cover of West End Girl on a butt plug-shaped USB drive. Was going to be my last story of the week, but I have more to talk about. So I got a better one, but that's still okay. A lot of anniversaries on this page. First up, Ocean's 11, the George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon remake, came out 24 years. Julia Roberts, 24 years ago. Frosty the Snowman debuted 56 years ago this week. Star Trek: The Motion Picture, the first one to kick it off, debuted 46 years ago this week. Blood Diamond debuted 19 years ago this week. Sophie's Choice debuted 43 years ago this week. John Lennon was shot and killed 45 years ago this week. That's kind of sad. A Apocalypto came out 19 years ago this week. La La Land came out 9 years ago this week. My favorite Tim Burton movie of all time, Big Fish, debuted 22 years ago this week. 2010, the year we make contact, debuted 41 years ago this week. A better sequel than 2001, which I thought was a decent movie, but not as good as everybody's saying it is. But 2010 is much better story-wise story that's in the same universe sequel to it. Brokeback Mountain debuted 20 years ago this week. One more anniversary, the Baltimore Ravens, my football team. 12 years ago, they played the Minnesota Vikings in Baltimore during a snow game. It was 2 minutes 17 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The Ravens were down 12-7. What followed was the weirdest 10-15 minutes of football you've ever seen that only lasted 2.17 minutes, 2.17 seconds, 2 minutes, 17 seconds, NFL clockwise, but in reality-wise, it lasted about 10 minutes. Basically, it was 12-7. The Ravens were losing. Ravens ended up winning the game like 26-23. So they scored a ton of points in the last 2 minutes. There's a great video that breaks down the whole 2 minutes, 17 seconds. It's outstanding. And there we go. Deaths this week: Martin Parr, a photojournalist. Joanne Allen Boyce, civil rights activist, died this week. Josh Becker, Evil Dead crew member and co-writer, passed away this week. A friend of Sam Raimi's, I'm assuming, and Bruce Campbell's probably. Bob Trumpy, NFL player, passed away this week. Tomomichin Nishimura, voice actor for anime, passed away at the age of 70. Wrestling star Mr. Electricity Steve Regal died at the age of 73. George Mira, the Matador NFL player, passed away this week as well. And Raul Malo, band member of the Mavericks, passed away at the age of 60 this week as well. A lot of people died at the age of 60 this week. Here we go on our final 6-7 part today. 6:38. Did this one already. Boom. Pickleball Christmas from Lifetime is set to debut on December 20th. Studio Ghibli is releasing a bunch of movies and re-releasing movies in the movie theaters this year or in 2026 that are all 4K ones, ones that have not come out before. I think My Neighbor Totoro is one of those, so that'd be interesting to see that. Spider-Punk film is still in development with Daniel Kaluuya. Spider-Man Brand New Day has finished filming, so that's all set to go. Avatar 3 is getting accusations of racism, so that's interesting. Fernando Mendoza is Indiana's first ever Heisman Trophy winner. He's a quarterback, and he is Hispanic, and it's going to make the convict racist in charge lose his fucking mind. 2 people killed, 8 injured in a Brown University shooting this evening. Multiple colleges are opting out of the bowl system. I always liked the bowls because they had really cool names, and they were just like last minute games. You play against teams you never normally played about, and they were always on TV, and you made a little extra money for your college, and your seniors who are graduating and not ever playing NFL again gives them a chance to go out on a high note, stuff like that. So I find it odd that so many teams are opting out of bowl games. Now they move to this playoff standard, 12-team playoff thing. The rest of the bowl games don't seem to matter as much as the playoffs. So everyone just focuses on that. So a lot of teams are just like, fuck it. I don't need to do a bowl game. I got too much on my plate. I don't want to deal with this right now. I still think it's a bad idea, but that's just me. But no, that all stemmed from Notre Dame, who got knocked out of the playoff race, bitching and moaning about it. And as a consolation prize, they're guaranteeing them a spot in the playoffs next year if they reach a certain level. So I think that's actually ridiculous as well. Kowtowing to Notre Dame is ridiculous. It's stupid. And a lot of these college football teams opting out, it's their right to, but I just find it really stupid and whiny. Oh, we didn't make the playoffs, so why the hell should we play this other game? As I said, it's your student's last chance to play a game that has some sort of meaning, and you just said, fuck it, we're not going to deal with it. So we'll see. The real quick, the last critic stuff I've got this week. I had a lot. I know. I'm sorry. This is the last one. This is the LA Film Critics Association. There they are. All right. Who are our winners? Best Picture, One Battle After Another. The runner-up was The Secret Agent. Best Director, Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another. The runner-up was Ryan Coogler, Sinner. Best Film, not in the English language, The Secret Agent. Runner-up was It Was Just an Accident. Best Documentary Nonfiction, My Undesirable Friends, Part 1, Last Air in Moscow. Runner-up, The Perfect Neighbor. Best Screenplay, Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident. Runner-up, Ava Victor for Sorry Baby. Best Lead Performance, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon. Runners-up were Timothy Chalamet for Marty Supreme and Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. Best Supporting Performance, Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. Teyana Taylor for One Battle for Another. Runners-up include Inga Ibsdottir Lilenis for Sentimental Value and Andrew Scott for Blue Moon. Best Animation was Little Emily or The Character of Rain. Runner-up was K-Pop Demon Hunters. Best Film Editing was Marty Supreme, with the runner-up being One Battle for Another. Best Production Design was Sinners, with the runner-up being Frankenstein. Best Music Score was Surratt, with the runner-up being Sinners. Best Cinematography was Train Dreams. The runner-up was Sinners. New Generation, Ava Victor for Sorry Baby. The Douglas Edwards Experimental Film Award. Albert Serra, Afternoons of Solitude, and Tom Anderson, Bodies of Work, which was a tie. And the Career Achievement Award went to Philip Kaufman. So there's your LA Critics Award. So again, if you were watching the whole show, you would hear a lot of the same movies being nominated and winning awards. So we're starting to get a clearer picture of what we're going to be looking at the Oscars in about a month. We'll be finding out what's in the Oscars. So we got a general idea of what we're going to be looking for. And we'll see once we start getting into the wins and losses, who is the front runner, stuff like that. So we shall see. Before I get to the final story of the week, let's talk about anniversaries. Spies Like Us debuted 40 years ago this week. Star Trek 6 debuted 34 years ago this week. Do They Know It's Christmas? Band-Aid debuted 41 years ago this week. Phenomenal Christmas song that has some of the best British up-and-coming musicians of the 1980s singing together. Deaths this week, we had Tom Hicks, owner of the Texas Rangers and the Dallas Stars. At one time, I don't think he still is. Oh, I've missed anniversary, The Golden Child, Eddie Murphy's great fantasy action film 39 years ago. And Mustafa Ali, former CFL player, also passed away this week. So the final story of today, a man in Ohio was arrested after sending a bag of meth through a bank's drive-through. So basically, it was at the drive-through, and instead of giving him his cash, he threw his meth stash in there. So kind of interesting. So that's it for this week's episode of 6767. And next week, we'll be entering into the first day of winter, getting even closer to Christmas, and we'll see what else comes out of that. Maybe we'll have our first look at Avengers Doomsday. Avatar comes out on the 19th, which is next Friday, so maybe we'll get some views of that Avengers Doomsday. We'll talk about that a little bit. So go outside. Well, don't go outside because it's snowing here on the eastern seaboard. I'm going to take a look and see how heavy it is right now and see how much coverage we have. So we got snow here. Be careful out there if you're out there in the snow area. If not, if it's clear out, look up to the sky, look for the Geminid meteor shower. We will not be able to obviously see it here because it's snowing and will be snowing all night. And that's all I got for that. So thank you for those who are watching. I'm about to end my stream, and you can go back and watch the beginning of the show as well. Thanks, guys, and take care, and we'll see you next week. Bye.